we thought this isn't the best way to start a podcast, but we're sitting here and we got Joe, who's got his club football shirt on, and Ben Bowman has got his Brazil football shirt on.
Yeah.
I asked the question, said, why haven't you got a football shirt on? And I said, as a 43-year-old man, should I be wearing football shirts? And then they said, they've cast me with the same aspersions as that received by Rory Jennings.
Yeah. The thing is with Rory, right, is that I was actually talking to him about this the other day. He said that he got a little bit stuffed by TalkSport because they left quite a bit out of that clip. Because he was saying, if you're going to the gym and if you're doing the garden and whatever, that's fine. But the problem is he kind of like doubled down, and then everybody just got all these photos of him just wearing football shirts. So it's just like, it made him out to be like a massive hypocrite. But I think I don't mind wearing it. I don't mind wearing. I mean, I'm 27.
Well, do what you want. Do you?
I will actually. Yeah.
Well, I was just sitting here minding my own business, and Joe's attacked me. This is the first time we've ever done a podcast.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, it was Joe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Joe's
no
put in the back foot.
it was more so questioning like the bright colours, the retro feel of the club, and a black T-shirt. The antithesis of bright colours. Football fiesta.
I like to take myself seriously, Joe. That's all I'll say here. And can I just welcome everybody to a brand new podcast called We'll Have a Look.
We'll have a look.
Oh, we'll have a look. Of course, we'll have a look. Brought to you by a mobile football game club. And what we're going to do in this episode is look back at some of the weekend's action, but moreover, probably the fallout of the transfer window, because it hasn't been pretty, has it, boys? It's been quite vile, quite nasty, and perhaps a sour taste has been left. And I think that, perhaps we should start with Marc Guehi, because the only good guy here has been punished by having to stay at his football club. And he must be looking around going, look what Isak's done, look what Vis has done, and they've got their dream moves. And he's still stuck in South London. What did you make of it all, Ben?
Do you know what? The Marc Guehi thing, I find it quite interesting, to be honest, because on a basic level, like Isak and Wissa kicked off and got the moves. Marc Guehi was very professional and didn't get his. But at the same time, Marc Guehi never really pushed to leave Crystal Palace. And that is because, he's a good professional. But also, he's got 1 year left in his contract where he could walk away for free next year with a pretty healthy sign-on bonus for wherever he goes to. And it's like this narrative that he's kind of been robbed of his dream move. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I buy it. I understand the whole thing of I think it sets a bit of a precedent, a dangerous precedent going forward in terms of like Isak and Wissa and how they've acted to get their moves, especially the people kind of advising Alexander Isak, especially I think will come in for a lot of flack. But Guehi's not lost out massively in this situation. Like, he still gets to play football for a year at Crystal Palace. Like, I really respect that Glasner just put his foot down and was like, nope. Like, if you go, I'm walking away. Like, I'm walking away. I don't need this. And obviously, that's put Guehi in a difficult position. He did the medical and all those kind of things. I feel sorry for him to an extent, but at the same time, he will be a Liverpool player this time next year. Or if he's not a Liverpool player, he will be a Bayern Munich player, Chelsea player, and like Man City player, something like that. He'll get the move.
More wealthy as well. He'll have his signing on bonus. Joe, I wonder, is any club, any players sort of going on strike to join Derby?
Absolutely not. But I do think by going back to Guehi, it's interesting, like how he's going to play. He seems like the guy who doesn't take notice of the outside world. He said that in multiple interviews. It feels like you said, that it might not be Liverpool next season, and he doesn't know where he's going to be next season. Probably not going to be Crystal Palace. Doesn't look like he's interested in signing an extension at all, even though it didn't go through this time. So I feel like he's just going to crack on, like you say. I don't think he's massively lost out, and I feel like he's gained a lot of credit with the football world as well. Maybe not Ben, who just feels like he's doing the classic thing, but I feel like the majority of football fans, considering what Isak and Vis and the likes of them have done this season, I feel like he's gained a lot of credit from the football community, whereas other players definitely haven't.
Yeah. Do you reckon he feels that's enough for him? At least I'm respected.
Yeah, Marc Guehi, an honourable man,
and he might play with freedom now. He might play with like this next level. Like, look, this is my last hurrah at Palace. I mean, he had a great start to this season when he thought he was leaving Crystal Palace. So maybe that's the form of a player who's just completely free, accepted his fate of what's going to happen. He's probably going to go on to better things in the future. So maybe he'll continue this great form at the start of this season on for the entire season, which helps Palace, which helps his confidence. He might not have been the starter for Liverpool going in now anyway with Konate. I know he's had a shaky start, but at the end of the season, he might walk into Liverpool's first team full of confidence after a great year at Palace. So it could work out for him.
I kind of think the issue as well, like, I think if people are going to be angry, I think they should be angry at Liverpool. Like, if Guehi is going to be like annoyed at anyone, because they only submitted their official bid for him over the weekend. Like, if they really were that desperate for him, then they should have gone in earlier. Or they should have lined up an alternative, which says to me that they were taking advantage more of a market opportunity that Guehi was in the last year of his contract, and they thought they could get him.
Isn't it, Ben? Like, I get it.
It's his job.
It's his job. No, look, I get it, but that's Liverpool don't owe anybody any favours. I'm not saying that you shouldn't look at Liverpool's behaviour in their pursuit of Isak and Guehi and look at it and go, "This is exemplary. This is sportsmanship." But also, their job is to get the best deal for their football club, and
yeah, of course.
You know, there have been many examples where they've chosen to defend players in previously, whereas you may, on an ethical level, you might think they shouldn't, but they do because they think about the best outcomes for their own football club. But you're right, if they wanted Guehi, they should have bid £50 million 3 weeks ago, sold him, and allowed Crystal Palace to just get on with it.
Yeah. So. I think sometimes we forget football's about the football, isn't it? Like, Crystal Palace fans should be happy that Guehi's stayed. Like, they shouldn't be like it was like, I understand that a lot of Crystal Palace fans were like, okay, maybe we do cash in on him. We've got a history of maybe keeping players for too long and kind of not getting the full value for them, etc., etc. And if it had happened at the start of the window, then I think they could have definitely lived with it and thanked him for everything after the FA Cup. But they should be over the moon that they've got him for another year.
Well, I wonder, actually, I was going to ask you about how this affects club, Joe, because like if Guehi leaves to Manchester, goes to Liverpool, it's not necessarily nailed on that he's going to score more points for Liverpool than he would Palace, is it?
I mean, he's in my team, and I was stressed about this, that if he does go to Liverpool, better defensive record, not this season, but you'd hope over the course of the season, Liverpool probably going to keep more clean sheets than Crystal Palace, although they've not shown it so far. But you as a Guehi owner in club, I was worried, had he gone to Liverpool, about his game time. Me and about 7,000 other club owners, he's one of the highest owned elite players in the game, Guehi. I was checking the stats this morning. A lot of people wanted him, whether they were banking on him going to Liverpool and thinking, I'm going to have a really, like, he's only 83 rated in our game, and having that as a Liverpool centre-back is great, but when he's...
Yeah, but is he going to play? The thing is, if he's playing every minute for Palace, that's much more valuable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like the majority of club owners who have got Guehi were secretly praying he stayed at Crystal Palace rather than went to Liverpool, just for that surety of minutes. And then who knows next season, if Konate carries on his current form throughout the season, he'd probably walk straight into that club, or, as you said earlier, any other club, top club, hopefully in the Premier League, so club can still keep Guehi.
I can see Guehi at Spurs next year. I think we'll end up buying him just because we just need that left-hand sided covered, Ben. I think it can happen. Anyway, just before we started this, I packed Gyökeres. Literally 10 minutes before we started this podcast, and I rejected him as quickly as possible.
You rejected him.
Get him out of there.
What do you think? What do you think's going on here, Joe?
Is that biasness, the rejection, or is that you actually don't rate Gyökeres from what you've seen so far this season, or is it like 50-50?
No, it's 100% club bias. Yeah.
Nice.
Look, there's one thing about winning. You got to win the right way. I can't win. I won't have a single Arsenal player in my team.
I've always said this, being a Derby fan, it's a cracking job we've never been in the Premier League, because on FPL, club, whatever, I just know I'd build a full team or get as many Derby players in as I possibly can, and eventually just like probably captain like Caden Jackson, any Derby player can just get them all in. You wouldn't
have any Forest players in though, surely.
And it messed me up last season. In club last season, refused Chris Wood every time. I kept getting him from agent money, refused him every time. And it came back to bite me because I was just constantly losing to a Aina 20-pointer or a Chris Wood 50-pointer.
But mate, there's things more important than winning, and that's being true to yourself and being true to Derby County.
Yeah.
Don't know what that accent was. Wasn't nowhere near a Midland accent, really, was it? Anyway, Gyökeres has congratulated Isak and denies that player power is an issue. So one player who really dug his heels in to get the move to to Arsenal has now congratulated his compatriot in Isak in getting the move to Newcastle. Troy Deeney said something interesting as well. He said, people say there's no loyalty in football, but no one complains when a team gets rid of a player. No one says there is no loyalty when clubs get rid of a manager, but they expect the players to be loyal to the team because the fans love the player. The clubs don't... I took exception to this. The clubs don't need to be loyal to the player. They have shown loyalty to the player because they've offered a contract over a certain amount of period.
Fat contract.
They've agreed, regardless of what happens, to pay.
Yeah.
Regardless of form, everything, right? And particularly when they're in good form, but probably when they're in... I mean, you look at Raheem Sterling is one of the highest paid players in the Premier League. I think he's in the top five, top six highest paid players in the Premier League on weekly wages. So I think the club are doing a fair job of showing him some loyalty despite his recent form, but that's their own fault as well, right?
Yeah. I think Chelsea is the most obvious example as well. Like when you can look at so many players there on 7-8 year contracts or whatever that are being shown the utmost amount of loyalty. Like I get there's two sides to the argument with a lot of that stuff, that players can kind of almost effectively being treated as commodities and kind of pawns within this, and I understand it. And I saw Anthony talking about it when he was sold from United yesterday, or whenever the transfer deadline day was. It was kind of almost like emotional, talking about the fact that it's not fair that I was being made to train on my own and all this kind of stuff. And I do think there is a way that in which clubs can treat these players better. But yeah, like you said, the contract is the loyalty, and football is a bit of a cutthroat business at the end of the day. So it does work both. It does work both ways, but at the end of the day, the club still holds all the power. Sadly for them,
I've seen the Newcastle fans getting quite annoyed that players like Botman and Gordon have publicly on their social media congratulated Alexander. Well, not congratulated on his move, but shown him a bit of love. And I do think it's interesting. I get the point. But they're not in the training ground every day, right? These fans, these players are close. They feel like a proper unit. They're going to be gutted to see Isak leave, no matter how it ended. It doesn't make up for those. I mean, these guys spend Christmas together, all that kind of stuff, and they're together, right, as one. So I don't get the berating from the fans that they've shared. I get that they could do it personally and just message them, but if they want to do a post to celebrate Isak, then I don't see the massive beef with it.
No, I don't think there's been this much noise ever about a player leaving a football club in my life in the Premier League, in terms of Isak and what's kind of come out the last few days, and accusations of him apparently match fixing by missing on purpose in their run towards the Champions League at the end of the season that they did qualify for, and he did score 4 goals in, I don't know, 7 or 8 games or something. I don't think I've seen a set of fans handle an exit from a player as emotionally as we've ever seen it with Newcastle with Isak. It's nuts. And like you said, I saw that thing from Anthony Gordon. It was he's a great person, great teammate.
It was lovely.
Yeah, and it was you don't know him. If you're a fan that's getting annoyed about that, you can't. I understand that you could make a judgment on Alexander Isak being a bad person in quotation marks to kind of because it suits how you feel about him, but you don't know him. You ain't got a clue of what he's actually like. I've never seen anything like it. It's crazy.
So hang on a second. Are you guys surprised here that football fans are being unreasonable and
yeah, it's a huge shock actually. I've never
particularly on social media. Those guys are normally really
really level-headed.
Look, I mean, I can tell you, I remember specifically a White Hart Lane, or I would say 2009, 2010, and there was a hotbed of hatred towards Gareth Bale. And this was off a period when Gareth Bale had gone 14 games without winning, or 24 Premier League games without winning at Tottenham. And literally, there were Spurs fans baying for his blood. And then when he was leaving, we're going, please don't go. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe we need to accept as football fans that we have a role in... Because look, this is... Botman, I don't know, if he makes a mistake, he's going to hear it from 100 Geordies behind him screaming how useless he is. And now you want him to sort of be quiet when Isak goes. I mean, I'm with the Newcastle fans, to be honest. I think they should just be quiet and let him go because, it's just a sensitive subject at the moment, and I think he's done everything incorrectly, but got everything he wants.
Yeah.
Which is
Flav, if you packed Woltemade in club, would he be going straight in your team?
just the word Voltamada makes me aroused. I've
you're backing it.
Oh, mate, in a big way. I've never been more upset but excited to see a player play in the Premier League. And I'm not saying he's the most effective player and I'll be interested to see what happens in club actually about how you guys rate him. But he is a unique footballer, in my opinion. He plays it like he's writing poetry. He reminds me of like a Dimitar Berbatov with pace.
Yeah.
And I think his ceiling is so high. And I was so desperate for Tottenham to find a way of bringing him in, but it maybe isn't quite ready for what we need. That when Newcastle signed him, I was gutted. But I was also like, I'm really looking forward as a fan of football to watching this guy play in the Premier League.
So you rejected Gyökeres in club, but you'd accept. Who do you think do you think he outscores Gyökeres this season?
I think if you're talking about watching, something close to a ballet or a ballerina on a football pitch, if that's what you like, then yes, Voltemade is my cup of tea. Look, I mean,
you didn't answer the question. Does he outscore? How good was that? How did he swerve that question?
Was a politician's answer, but I'm right there with you. With I'd say Voltemade over Gyökeres 100%.
So you think he outscores him this season?
What are you saying, Joe?
I think Gyökeres outscores him this season. I think sharing minutes with Vissa as well at Newcastle, Gyökeres seems like he's the only man, particularly with Havertz.
Why not play them
Maybe
both?
4-4-2.
he will.
Literally, it's big man, little man. They've signed a big man, little man strike partnership with Wissa and Voltemade.
It's back.
We are so back.
Oh, mate, it should be back. Voltemade is he isn't. I wouldn't even put him as like your out and out number 9. He's like a hybrid. He's like a false 9, 10.
Oh my God, stocks have so heavily invested. I didn't realise.
Wait, I'm in. I'm all in. To be honest, Joe, I've been calling this player for about 2 years, just because I don't know how I found him. I might have been sort of a little bit inebriated at like late at night watching Stuttgart play football for some reason, and I was just like, this guy's incredible. And then he's sort of slowly grown into under 21s Germany and now he's got his big move. I think, £64 million is lumpy. It's a lot of money for him, but life's worth living. They were desperate.
So our job is over the international break now, as we get all the new players that have been added to the league in club over the international break. It's our job now to rate them. Obviously, Gyökeres is rated 85. Ekitike is currently an 83, probably going to get an upgrade. What would you, Voltemade, what would you rate him at?
I think in order for it to be fair and for the the fabric of the game, 80.
80.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Probably
79, but
you just want to do that so Agent Manny gives you it, because Agent Manny only gives out 79 rated rubbish players anyway.
No, I get a couple of good. I've done me a service actually, Manny, a couple of times.
Agent Manny's getting stick.
Is he? if you're somehow listening to this podcast and don't know what club is, Agent Manny is the agent that brings you players that you can sign to use in your team. And he's not the most popular person.
No, and it's obviously Manny, the name is FIFA Manny. You probably know him. Yeah, we've met up with him a few times. He has said to us that he will get messages on his socials asking why he's such a bad agent. People genuinely think Manny, every time someone clicks that Meet Now button, Manny gets his phone out, goes through a list of Premier League footballers and personally picks them a player to give them. They've got real beef with Manny. And I think he was asking either for us to make him better. We made him slightly better at the end of last season, but so funny that people get so irate about him.
Who did he give me earlier? He gave me John Arias. Wolves forward. I think they signed him from, was it Fluminense in the summer? Yeah. They signed him from a Brazilian team.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. Wolves have got a little history of Brazilians.
I'd reject. If it was me, we'll do a little game in a bit. We'll try and predict who the best players, the forward, midfield and defenders and goalkeeper is in a club. But before we do that, I want to get your boys' take on Sancho's move to Aston Villa. Is this going to be a hit, Joe?
See, I would have said the same thing with Rashford, right? It's very similar transfer. Like, obviously, Rashford going to Aston Villa. I feel like he didn't really excel expectation, nor did he fall below other expectations. I feel like he was just kind of there in the middle, did decent, pretty inconsistent of a player that hasn't had a lot of game time or football or is a bit shy of confidence. I feel like Sancho comes into the team with exactly that as well, quite short of confidence, short of game time as well, match sharpness and fitness, as we've seen from a lot of players that have arrived this season at the start of the league. Look at Šeško, players like that. It's massive. And starting well, as Ekatiké's done, you can just kick on. I feel like Sancho isn't going to start well, and I feel like that may affect, because Villa, whilst Villa aren't playing well, they have got options in that attacking area that they can change. And I feel like if it doesn't go right for Sancho initially, he could be sort of dragged out and a sort of impact bench player at their team. And that's kind of the way I see it going. I don't see this being like he goes into their team like a Grealish has at Everton. I don't see Sancho having anywhere near the impact that Grealish has had on that Everton team. I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think he touches that.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I don't. It screams. I know Villa have obviously had financial difficulties this summer, like not being able to get into the Champions League has kind of hamstrung them a little bit, which makes me confused as to them bringing in Sancho, because I'd imagine they're paying a very decent chunk of what would be very sizable wages at Man United. So it's a bit of a strange one for me. I know Emery, to his credit, has a very good track record of kind of reviving players, almost. Like, so I think there's a chance it goes well. I just don't see it. I just don't really see it, to be honest. Although one thing I would say about Villa's business is that I really like the Harvey Elliott signing. I think to get him for 35, well, an obligation to buy of £35 million, I think that's really good business. I think Liverpool have got some sort of buyback clause, though. I think that's maybe why it was a little bit cheaper than we thought Elliott would maybe go for. But I think Villa got a spark in January when they brought in Asensio and Rashford to a maybe slightly lesser extent, but certainly Asensio. And when Villa were kind of, they were really struggling around like December. They went on quite a poor run. It was all quite sluggish. It looked like it'd gone a bit stale, almost like it has done now. Over the first 3 games of the season, they've been really poor. Maybe Elliott is the one that will kind of invigorate them a little bit more so than Sancho. And maybe that puts less pressure on Sancho. Maybe it'll be the Europa League where Sancho thrives a little bit more. I know they're playing in different positions, but just to add something else to that attack, because it feels a bit stale at the moment.
I think it was probably the best move that Sancho could possibly make. I thought,
really,
for the reason you gave there, John, is that I thought that Rashford's football career potentially could be over. I just thought he was completely disinterested. I knew there's something's gone on behind the scenes at Manchester United, and regardless of the new coach Amorim coming in, it wasn't going to work for Rashford. And the reason was whatever's going on in Marcus Rashford's head. He goes to Aston Villa and he looks like a player reborn, similar to the one of 3 or 4 years ago where people were touting him as one of the best.
Do you think he looked reborn? Do you think?
I think compared to where he was, he achieved things that I didn't anticipate. So much, he was so good that he's now ended up at Barcelona. That's some rise from. What is it, Joe? What are you saying here? Well, I feel like you're irritated with me.
I don't think, I'm not irritated. I just don't think he was that exceptional at Aston Villa. I don't think anyone looked at his time at Aston Villa and said he now deserves to be in that Barcelona squad that are widely considered to be top 3 teams in the world right now.
I think he was. I don't think he was amazing, but I definitely felt like he looked reinvigorated for sure. Like, I think there was that. The game that kind of stands out was that PSG game in the Champions League where he almost turned that game on its head single-handedly. And even though it didn't always click for him, he didn't score loads of goals, he definitely looked like... Reborn might be a stretch, but he definitely looked like more like his old self. And I think with Barcelona, I think that's like... obviously, I haven't been massively keeping up with who they've been playing in the front 4, front 3 in the first few games. I know he's got a fair bit of game time, I think. Obviously, they've got Rafinha there, they've got Lewandowski, they've got Yamal. I think it's kind of a bit of a match made in heaven, really, because he goes away from the English spotlight kind of all that kind of. I know it will follow him to an extent. I know he did that podcast with Lineker and Richard. So there is going to be a bit of a buzz and still that English media hype around him. But he's going to play. If he plays on that left hand side, he's got the best winger in arguably the best player in the world playing on that right hand side that will take players out of the game, double up on Yamal constantly to try and stop him through that fear, and that will leave Rashford in those kind of spaces where he thrives 1v1 a lot of the time. And I think if he just gets off to a decent start, a few decent games in the Champions League, I think Rashford, because I think that World Cup next year, that left wing spot is open.
Sounds like he's reborn to me.
I think maybe he is.
Yeah, well, be reborn.
I'll give you it. And you think Sancho goes the same way? Yeah.
No. I think there's an opportunity for Sancho, and it depends on Sancho, right? I think Emery, the Aston Villa crowd, the examples that have been set before him, like this feels like last chance saloon for him. Sancho, nobody wanted him. Chelsea paid to take him back to Manchester United. They didn't want him at a football club. He went back to Dortmund. That didn't happen. So I just feel like it's the right club for him and the right transfer. And if it's up to him now. So do I think it'd be a success? All the evidence points to no, because he won't allow it to be that way. Would I sign him for club if Manny offers him up? No.
Exactly. Definitely not. He was one of the most rejected players, I think after the game week 1, heading into the start of the season, because he's quite we originally had him quite high rated. He's had several downgrades in our game since, as you can imagine, over the past year or so. But obviously people don't want to touch him because he doesn't even get he's not even going to pick you up at least now. Originally, he wasn't even going to pick you up a couple of points because he wasn't coming on. Maybe that will change now. I'll be interested to look at his stats. Maybe next week we can see how many accepts he's had over the international break or how many times. But if I feel like we're all of the opinion that if we would be more surprised if he was a success at Aston Villa than if he wasn't.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for real. And it's interesting, actually. I'm having to kind of think about Chelsea players when I get offered them. Yeah. Because there's so many players. I had Reece James. Obviously, you have Reece James. When he's fit, probably best right back in the league, or if not one of them, he didn't even start.
There's a few players between that 82 to 84 rated that are good players that we have to rate highly in club because they are good players.
Yeah.
But because of game time, because of position, I think one of the most rejected player that isn't a 79 rated core player or a base player, so rare and above, is actually Bentancur, which is probably a good example of from you guys. Example, good player, rated at 82, a high rare in our game, but because he's not guaranteed consistent minutes, maybe.
So this is a little tip. This year, I think he will be. I think he will start every game pretty much, as long as he's fit. So what do you think, Ben?
I think it kind of depends. I think when Xavi Simons comes into the team, one of the midfield three is going to be obviously dropped, you'd imagine, on a consistent basis. Pat Matasara's got off to a flyer so far this season, and he looks and a great preseason as well. It kind of looks like he might be a bit more of a mainstay. So then you're kind of looking at Palhinha, Bentancur. I don't think, at the weekend, for example, I think one of the reasons why Spurs were so poor or unable to kind of break through Bournemouth was because those two were starting together. It wasn't necessarily down to either of their individual performances, but using them two together as a pivot in those kind of games with no creativity is just not really going to work. So there is one of them that probably for the large majority of games will probably sit on the bench. So I don't know. It might be Bentancur, it might be Palhinha. I don't know.
That is a good point, though. You bring up Xavi Simons. We were just talking about earlier. Again, he's another one that we're going to have to rate in club, and he's going to drop into the game at the end of this week. So, if you look at players like Eze's currently 84 rated, Odegaard.
Got to be higher than that.
Got to be higher than that, surely. It has to be.
I feel like I'm being attacked by the Spurs.
85?
86s, I reckon. 86.
If I give you the Eze 84 and Odegaard 85, what is Xavi Simons?
86.
86.
100%.
Not even a question mark.
So Wirtz is 85. So you think Simons over?
Yeah. Why not?
Just bombardment of Spurs.
Wirtz is an interesting one because hasn't started the season brilliantly. We often see, big money transfers, a lot of expectation. And you forget that these are human, regardless of how good they are, they're human beings. And playing in the Premier League, I'm sure Xavi Simons... pressure, speed, and he talked about the intensity. There's no time to stop. They never get a break. Where Wirtz has said, in the Bundesliga, you kind of had moments where you could take a breather. In the Premier League, you just don't get any.
Yeah.
Which is why our game's so exciting. So it's just thinking that kind of money and expectation doesn't mean that he won't need time to bed in. And I think Xavi Simons will be the same.
We did we did a live stream for some of our player ratings ahead of before this 25-26 season started. We did a live stream with some of our core fan audience about what. And we went through all the player ratings and the new players, and Wirtz was a hot topic. Originally we had him 84 rated, and so the comments were flooded with, it has to be at least 86, 87. Bear in mind, Palmer was 87. All the chat was there Wirtz has to be the same as Palmer, in and around Palmer, which
Got to prove it.
Which I thought was ludicrous, considering he's not even Premier League proven yet. And he originally started lower because I actually backed at the start that he'd be a bit of a flop. I don't know if you've seen. I spoke to Jermaine Genius as well and Pennant, and they called the Wirtz flop at the start of the season as well. So
really,
yeah, they so that was just what I thought. But then the comments were flooded with, he's as good, if not better than Palmer. We settled on 85, but it already looks like. I mean, you look at the start of the season, he could genuinely be on for a downgrading club. Maybe give it a bit longer because, like you say, he's got to have that time to embed. I don't think he looks bad. I'm not one of these who judges football by goals and assists, but I feel like because of his price tag, he has to get that. Do you know what I mean? If he's playing nicely, his touch looks good, his passing looks, he looks like a positive player, carries the ball forward really well.
Yeah,
but that's not good enough at his price tag. Like they said, that at this price tag in the Premier League with this pressure, you have to accompany that with goals and assists. Otherwise, look at Gyökeres, hasn't played or looked very well at all, but people will consider Gyökeres a slightly better signing than Wirtz at this moment because he's got 2 goals to show for it. I feel and it may come for Wirtz as well
against the Championship defence. I just want to add that. You're right. In terms of the price tag, he has to perform, and the level of scrutiny is through the roof. It's not his fault, but that's just the way it works, isn't it?
They have got Burnley away after the first game after the international break, Liverpool. So you'd imagine maybe that's one where he kind of gets
a stat pad
potentially up and running. Yeah, a little stat pad. And the thing is, people aren't going to let him off the hook for that either.
No,
if he scores against Burnley, nothing's going to change. I actually thought Wirtz, especially in that second half against Arsenal, I thought you could kind of really see a lot of it coming together. I think the issue against maybe Newcastle, for example, was more Liverpool's inability to kind of find him. I think Newcastle's midfield so well drilled, so well organised, so hard to kind of penetrate. And it is going to be a tough adjustment period. But I just think that, I don't know, there was a few little things that he was doing against Arsenal. I was just no, it will.
You can see it.
Magic
I think
there.
We'll make this a weekly feature, and we'll check in with Joe. How is Joe's agenda against Wirtz this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. But it's not reflected. I put my bias aside. You have to with the game. It's not just me that decides the player ratings, obviously, otherwise that would just be absurd.
Power would go to your head, wouldn't it?
Goes through an algorithm, goes through
all the Forest players just
it pains me every time. Last season, I think Chris Wood started a 78 rated, and then you just kept having to put him up and up and up and up, just because it's based on performance, which is the good thing about club, right? Every international break or every little break, the ratings change. But say you've got 83 rated Ekitike in your team. If he goes up to an 84 rated whilst you own him, it doesn't affect your salary cap. So that's the good thing about the game. So you get rewarded for having those players who have performed well.
Managing that salary cap is the biggest challenge, isn't it? I'm currently all over the place. I'm about 6 million over at the moment, but I figure I've got 10 days to work it out to the next game week, so I'm sure it'll all be fine. Tell me something, boys. If you were to pack a Donnarumma next week, how would you feel about keeping him, or would you reject him? Because it's a really strange situation here where Pep Guardiola, around 10, 11 years ago, if it was that long, it might have been, he bombed out Joe Hart because he couldn't play football. And now he's signing Donnarumma, who isn't incredible with his feet. He's okay, I guess. But he's a brilliant shot stopper, don't get me wrong. But he just doesn't feel like a Pep Guardiola goalkeeper.
It's not a Bravo. It's not someone that's almost better with their feet than they are at shot stopping, right? And like people would probably say that about Edison as well, although I think he's been unbelievable for them in the Premier League shot stopper as well. But when you talk about Edison, you talk about his kicking, you talk about the fact that he can even pop up with an assist. Like Bravo, that was his thing. He was a useless shot stopper but could kick a ball. This definitely isn't that, like you said.
I just read the next segment. I don't want to move on from Donnarumma too quickly, but I have to bring this up now. I've just read this. Man United face worrying new keeper alarm in inverted commas as Man United fans are absolutely terrified at the sight of their new goalkeeper, Sen Lemons. No, really, they are terrified. The clip that's doing the rounds, he looks terrible. Like, surely he's better than that because their scouts would have gone and watched him and seen what he's like generally. But he looks terrible. He doesn't even look like a footballer. He looks. I wonder how. I wonder how confident you would be if you'd have signed him, given the fact that they've already have issues with two of their goalkeepers. So essentially got 3 first-team goalkeepers, and all that potentially going to be, mud.
It's really weird. Like there used to be clear number ones, and I don't know how much I love not having clear number one goalkeepers. And there's a few of them in the Premier League that, like you say, with the Man City going back to Donnarumma, just sign Trafford for not a huge fee, but for a fee nonetheless. He's been at the club before. You'd like to think they'd look after him. Not having a clear number one as a goalkeeper, and I know everyone always talks about goalkeeper union. They're always like they spend every waking minute together, like on that training pitch, and are really good friends. But not having a clear number one, not chopping and changing it, the defense not liking it. Don't know.
Yeah, I do agree with that because I feel like it could get to a position quite quickly where they're going. I just feel like with United, it's like they've obviously brought in a goalkeeper, but they've spent a lot of money this summer, and it still feels like they've not addressed actually their biggest issues in the best possible way. Like, I understand the need to kind of reinvigorate that front line and do what they did, fair enough, but midfield is an issue, and goalkeeper that was a massive issue, and they've signed someone that United fans are they're actively worried about. Like that
can't have been that first choice.
No, surely not. Like
Martinez is right there.
I know, I don't get it. There must have been a reason why they didn't do that because it seemed like a tap in, and now he's staying at Aston Villa, which is a bit of a I don't know. It's a very weird situation. He's obviously a young goalkeeper as well. I think how old is he? Like 22, 23. I think this new for Lemons they brought through the door. So. Yeah. People often say that the United shirt wears heavier almost than like some of the others with like the expectation and the pressure. It's like also he's kind of in a similar boat to Sesko in a way. Like Sesko obviously is more expensive, more hype around him, but like being like the Man United goalkeeper when there was so much scrutiny on that position, and Sesko coming in as a Man United number 9 when there's been so much scrutiny on that position with like Højlund and Xerxes, etc. Like it's not going to be easy for him, and where the defense in front of him isn't massively settled either. I don't know. You hope. I mean, I hope United don't do very well, but you'd hope for his sake that he just gets off to a decent start and kind of it doesn't swallow him up.
I kind of think it'd be funnier if he doesn't. Like if Man United never recover from their goalkeeper issue.
Yeah, just this constant cycle every year of just like bringing in. Apparently, Courtois said something like he's one of the best Belgian goalkeepers. But then again, I feel like who's his competition? I don't really understand. Like
Mignolet.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows?
I know what you guys are saying. It'd be funny if he was rubbish and that I'm almost gotten to the point, and this is as a non-Premier League fan, so maybe as Premier League fans, you'll tell me to like screw it off. And I'm almost at the point where I would like to see United just not even fully back, just like semi back, because I just feel like it is just a tad boring now how bad. Like I feel like we've had long enough of it. Like to see them maybe competing again, getting up there. Maybe that's just the nostalgia looking for that old Barclays like back in the Premier League. But as a non-Premier League fan, I almost like I've had my fun with Manchester United now. I've constantly laughed at them. Not back. I don't want them winning like 3 out of 5 leagues again, but just semi back to the point where like they're competitive.
Nah, you're right. I will tell you to screw off.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Like when they lost to Grimsby in the League Cup, I was just like, that was us 20 years ago.
Yeah,
That was me. It was like a 7-year-old kid in a classroom full of United fans that had picked to support them because they were the best team. And then 20 years later, we're beating them in a cup final and they're going out the League Cup to Grimsby as well. And their manager's sitting there getting rained on, looking at his tactics board. Like, give me more of this. I want, like, it can't end.
You're thinking about the tears that Terry from Essex is in.
Yeah.
And the Cockney Reds and all them lot. Yeah, no. Sorry, no. I mean, when Grimsby won, it felt like Spurs had won as well. That, for me,
yeah.
Exact same feeling.
Exemplary hate watch.
Yeah, exactly. I love this new term, by the way, hate watching. I mean, it's not a new
amazing.
term, a couple of years in, but the Gokeresh hate watch, for example, in the first couple of games.
Is he your one for this season? If you could pick anyone, is
him and
Eze?
Yeah,
Eze, obviously, yeah.
I like the Arsenal fans listening to this, so we probably should stop this.
I do like the fact, though, that like this isn't just a Gyökeres thing, but like slander names have become like a thing in the Premier League. Like I saw on TalkSport, they call Jason Cundy called Gyökeres the Gyökeres monster. Yeah. People said about Wirtz as well. I rate that, but I need more. It's the sort of pettiness everyone can get behind.
Yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. All right, okay. Before we end, let's do a little game.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Joe to put together the best player on club in each position, and myself and Ben have to try and guess who they will be. So let's start with the forward. Ben, if you had to guess, I've got one of two, one of three, and I'm not sure.
You got to think about, guys, with the club. If you're not familiar with the scoring, it's more than just goals. It's chances created, it's hold up play, it's everything, like taken into account, real eye test sort of. So if you've watched a striker that is fully past your eye test, there's a high chance he could be there.
Okay, my guess is João Pedro for the forward. What's your guess, Ben?
Ben's gone. Has
he? Okay, so while Ben rediscovers the internet and how it works, is it João Pedro?
Well, it is, but I think we have fun, like messing with Ben and making sure he doesn't get the answer. I feel like we still need to get him to guess. Like, you've smashed it. You clearly club pro, right?
Fingers crossed he hasn't heard any of this.
I would love him
keep
not
saying
to.
is wrong, and he'll just keep saying I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And who is it that we're going to pretend that it is? Someone like, I don't know, Chris Wood maybe again.
I'm not letting him. I'm not ever saying Chris Wood is going to be the top of anything.
I think we may well have lost Ben. Actually, his internet's gone. Just in the interests of, here he is.
Hello,
Mike. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. So have you got a guess for the?
Yeah, with what you just said about it's more than just the goal, it's more than just this part. The player that kind of jumped into my mind was João Pedro. Is that who you said when I was out?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, you can't write.
Did you hear me say that?
No, I genuinely didn't. Yeah,
it feels like I feel like we're getting conned here. For sure.
Right. No, I was not. My internet went down. I was not hearing anything. I was disconnected to you guys.
In the interests of brevity, we will have to move on. Yes, correct, João Pedro.
You're right.
But that's what's great about this is that it isn't Haaland, even though he's got 3 goals. Yeah. Let's go to midfielder.
Ooh.
My shout for the midfielder. I've got one of 2. My left field shout, who I think it would be really interesting if it is in, would be Jadon Anthony of Burnley. But I think, given the number of goals Chelsea have scored, I think it's Enzo Fernandez.
Wow.
What do you
I was going to go for Jack Grealish.
He's a forward though in the game.
Oh, is he down as a forward? Okay. So,
it's not.
So it's like all attacking midfielders are going to be. Are all attacking midfielders down as forwards, or is there some that kind of straddle between?
Like Odegaard's down as a midfielder. Like it's more wing. Like if they play on the wing, they'd be forward.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
Grealish sometimes does.
In that case, then I'm a little outside shout, and I'll go with his Everton teammate because I think he's going to be really good as well as Grealish, and I think Grealish might take a bit of the attention. Is Dewsbury Hall?
It's a good shout, but again, Flav already got it way before. It's actually Enzo Fernandez.
Come on!
Chelsea contingent going strong.
Does take it takes penalties, though, doesn't he? Does take penalties.
No, he's all round game. It's not just penalties. It's all round game. It's what I'm saying. It's the eye test. If you know ball,
well,
Ben,
a lot
you know ball like I know ball.
Yeah, true. You do know ball. You're a ball knower.
I am, and I've just nailed it 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Right, defenders. I'm on a roll here.
I feel like this should be easy.
Yeah, I was going to go for Virgil van Dijk.
I'm going for Timber.
Ben's been done
Is it me
3
again?
times in a row.
Timber. Oh
Timber
my God.
is the highest scorer.
Have you got the answers on that sheet?
No, I've been playing this game obsessively since, and I kind of just know who's had big numbers.
Yeah, true.
I mean, the goals, like we try and not part of our game is not just making it so goals like basically get you the most points, but when you're a fullback, getting a clean sheet goal, a couple of assists, you're bound to be in there.
Yeah. Where I am going to struggle is in the goalkeeper.
Yeah, here we go. We can't let Ben. We can't let him go 4 for 4. By the way,
Can I just guess who I think it is? Because
I don't want you to guess it right though.
Go on, Ben. You have a go.
Well, naturally, like I go straight to Raya, but now I'm thinking it could be a little bit more of an outside shout. I'm going to say, because I think they're quite solid back, I'm going to go Dean Henderson. Raya or Henderson is my shout, but I'm going to go. I'll go bold and I'll go with Henderson. Why not?
My guess here, and I was confident about the other 3. I've got to be honest. My guess is Petrovic of Bournemouth.
It's actually the first time you're both wrong.
Who is it?
And it is Jordan Pickford after his penalty save.
Oh yeah.
Not only clean sheets, but gets a penalty save in there as well. That's scored extremely highly in club.
It's a difficult thing to do, isn't it?
And Pickford, quite surprisingly, has been, for the past 2 seasons, we've been running and testing our point scoring system, the highest points for a goalkeeper, like at the end of the season for both the last 2 seasons. He's been the best goalkeeper in the league according to our point scoring system. He's just a points machine.
But I mean, even if you just like take the kind of like stats away from it, anyone who's watched Everton will know probably the only reason they've stayed up, or when they stayed up winning those relegation battles, was because of him. Like big moments, penalty save. He's a good,
And it's kind of like Everton defenders when you talk about point scoring. They're just good because Everton concede they have a lot of defending to do. Like Pickford has a lot of saves to make. He has like a lot of punches to crosses to claim, long balls to hit, like long accurate balls. He's made the most of any Premier League, so he scores points for those sorts of things in our game.
Yeah, that's good to know. Well, hopefully I'll pack him. Manny needs to sort me out. Okay, well, this has been the first episode of the Club podcast. It's not even called that though, is it? It's called, of course, We'll Have a Look. We'll Have a Look podcast. And I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with Joe and Seb this time. So
we've got to test Seb's ball knowledge versus Ben's in some of these guessing games.
I think they'll be comparable. They're both intelligent young lads. I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think. And Joe, I'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See you too. Goodbye.